Today, we're diving into a really cool historical puzzle. It's all about one of the most important legal texts from the ancient world, the Book of Deuteronomy, and a major debate scholars are having about how old it really is. So here's the big question. Was Deuteronomy actually written way back in the time of Moses, something like 3,000 years ago? Or is it a much, much later document, written centuries after the fact? The answer, you might be surprised to hear, could actually be hidden in politics, not religion. And that's where we get our first big clue. To start cracking this case, scholars had to look beyond just the religious texts. They dove into the political archives of ancient empires, and what they found was a pretty stunning connection. It turns out, the Book of Deuteronomy is structured almost exactly like something called a suzerain vassal treaty. Now, what is that? Well, think of it like a formal contract between a massive, powerful emperor and a smaller, subordinate king that he controls. It lays out the whole deal, the history, the rules, and, what happens if you break the contract. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. This treaty format, it wasn't always the same. It actually changed over time, leaving us with two primary blueprints, one from the second millennium BCE and a totally different one from the first. So figuring out which blueprint Deuteronomy follows, that's the key to the whole mystery. All right, so let's meet our two main suspects. First, you have the Hittite treaty model. That's the early one from around 1400 to 1200 BCE. And then you have the Neo-Assyrian model from about 700 BCE. And believe me, the way they approach things could not be more different. I mean, just look at the differences here. The early Hittite version kicks things off with this long backstory, talking about all the great things the big king has done for the little king. The whole vibe is about gratitude and loyalty. The deal is often mutual, and it lists out good things, blessings, if you obey, and bad things, curses, if you don't. The later Assyrian model, it's the polar opposite. No history lesson, just pure fear and domination. The demands only go one way, and it ends with this long, terrifying list of only curses. So the heart of a Hittite treaty is all about relationship. The great king is basically saying, look at everything I've done for you. Because of all that, you should serve me. It's an appeal based on a shared history, where your loyalty is supposed to be a thankful response. But the Assyrian version? Oh, that's all about raw power, which, if you know anything about the Assyrians and their military, makes perfect sense. It's not about a relationship. It's about control. The vassal king isn't acting out of gratitude. He's acting out of pure terror of what will happen if he messes up. This oath isn't about trust. It is all about fear. This huge difference in style created a major showdown among scholars. And, just to make things more complicated, a whole new set of texts was discovered, known as the Sefire treaties, which kind of threw a wrench in things. Okay, so here's how it all lays out on a timeline. You've got the classic Hittite style way back in the second millennium. Then, hundreds of years later, just before the Assyrian model really takes over, these Sefire treaties pop up around 750 BCE. And they feel like a stepping stone between the two. And what's so wild about the Sefire treaties is that they're a mashup. Just like the later Assyrian treaties, they get rid of that long historical introduction. But, like the much older Hittite style, they talk about the whole relationship in broad terms, not just some narrow legal point. This really backs up the idea that these treaty forms were changing and evolving over hundreds of years. So all this evidence basically split the scholarly world into two camps. You've got the evolution camp, who argue that the treaty form changed so much over time that the old and new versions are just fundamentally different things. And then you have the continuity camp, who say not so fast, the basic structure pretty much stayed the same. The folks in the evolution camp, led by scholars like George Mendenhall, are basically saying that the first millennium Assyrian treaty is a completely different animal from the second millennium Hittite one. The structure, the spirit, the whole shebang, it all changed. So for them, there's no way you can confuse the two. But then you have the continuity camp, with guys like DJ Wiseman, who, by the way, actually published the Assyrian treaties. And they argue the opposite. They'd say, yeah, sure, there are some differences, but the basic template, the fundamental form of a suzerain treaty, it stayed consistent. So a writer in the first millennium could have easily used a structure that looked a lot like the older one. So why are we talking so much about ancient politics? Why does this debate even matter? Well, because it brings us right back to our big mystery. How old is the Book of Deuteronomy? Okay, so when you actually look at Deuteronomy, the connections are impossible to ignore. It has that long historical intro recounting God's actions. It lists both blessings and curses, and the whole thing is framed as a relationship based on gratitude for what happened in the past. Here's the kicker. That is a near-perfect match for the early 2nd millennium Hittite model, and it looks almost nothing like the later Assyrian one. And we aren't talking about a small gap in time here. We're talking about more than 700 years separating the high point of the Hittite treaty style and the peak of the Assyrian style. That's a massive stretch of history, which makes the question of which model Deuteronomy follows, well, it makes it incredibly important. So it really boils down to two possible conclusions. If you're on Team Evolution and you think that Hittite form was unique to its era, then Deuteronomy has to be an early text, putting it right in the time of Moses. But if you're on Team Continuity, you could say that a later author in, say, the 7th century BCE just used this general treaty structure, so the similarities don't actually prove it's old. But hold on, there's one last twist. Some scholars have thrown out a third option. What if a much later author intentionally used an old, outdated, archaic treaty style precisely to make the document look ancient? It's an argument that admits the structure is a match, but questions the motive behind it, adding a whole other layer of intrigue to this puzzle. So is the very structure of Deuteronomy a deliberate 3,000-year-old clue, pointing to its origins, right back in the time of Moses? Or is it a later text that's just using a common political format of its day, or maybe even faking an older one? This is a very real, very active debate, where ancient political treaties have become the key evidence in a huge historical detective story. And now, you know exactly what's at stake.